who's going to win, I always just try to think of initiation, because I think the team who has the easier way to initiate fights usually wins. And I think that this game, that might be Fnatic.
Now, what about scalability at all? When I look at this lineup on paper, I don't see a lot of potency in the later game. It feels like it would weigh heavily on the shoulders of the Riki, I suppose. Is that a concern at all? And does it make Fnatic have to work against the clock, or am I thinking too much about all that?
I think scalability only really matters when it comes to like the ultra late game, but what probably matters more is like how easy it is for you to get your damage out.
Okay.
For example, if you're playing like Razor, or you're playing like Sven, one of the best late game carries, but you're against like Beastmaster, Razor plus like another stun that goes through BKB, it doesn't really matter that you can hit hard if you can't actually get your damage out. And I think in this game, at least for the early game, I think that Boom might struggle to get their damage out.
Noted for sure. We'll see if that's going to be the case as things pan out. A little bit of a note right there. We saw 23 Savage trying to creep into the lower half of the map, but did not go uphill, which kind of gave Boom Esports the idea that there is a ward on that high ground. They know it's there. They'll be taking care of it soon enough, and then kind of have that freedom to roam from the bottom to the mid lane undetected.
I will add one addendum. I think if this OD gets BKB at a reasonable time, I think it's going to be really hard for Fnatic to win.
Absolutely. I mean, Brian was mentioning all of the potential troubles that OD could have in this game, just trying to execute all his own damage, whether it be the fissures and the stickies and the, whatever else it may be. He'll certainly have a hard time being optimized. Bottom lane is really where we're going to see a lot of the flirting, I would guess. 23 Savage. The young stunner. What are your impressions about this kid? He's like the new young starlet for the team. He's got his own stream. He's got the edgy name. Do you think he's as good as people say?
Yeah, I think he's a really good player. I think he just needs experience. Edgy name? I mean, it's a little bit clowny. I think he's just a play on... I have to imagine it's a play on 21 Savage, right? The rapper.
Of course.
So I think it's like pretty funny.
So if his name was Blueface or Purpleface, you'd probably be more about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think if anybody named themselves after Blueface, I'd probably lose a lot of respect for them in general.
Oh,
but
okay. Is there a name that would win your respect immediately upon reading? For me, it was Kyoto. Oh, what is it? Kyoto. Oh my gosh! Now I'm butchering it from South America.
Oh, Kotaro Hayama.
Kotaro Hayama. I read that name and my inner anime got real excited.
I see.
What about for you? Any name?
What names do I really like? I like the people that played for like Magneto Gaming. What was it called?
Heck yeah.
Gosh. Immortal Magneto Gaming. And then they're whoever played on that team automatically is like top tier for me. That's in terms of like org names, I think that might be the best one.
Absolutely.
Immortal Magneto Gaming.
Because that's an official name. It's not like High Council of Wizards and Priests, which is made up by the players.
Somebody thought like this would be a good idea for a name, and
the one true Magneto, an immortal Magneto at that. But
23 Savage is going to just get clicked on right now. But I think laning phase should go really well for Fnatic, and they kind of have to like leverage their lead pretty quickly.
Ooh, heavy damage on the FBZ, and it's enough to get it done. Ice, ice, ice on that off lane. Dazzle hits it home with that poison touch. 2 points in it now. And, the Dazzle has shifted quite a bit from his olden days of being that profile prolific 5, and now he's got this new core business about him, and so far working out pretty well in the off lane.
Yeah, there's something I want to point out about Fnatic as a team, by the way. And they're pretty unique in this regard, and I'd consider them like a top 8 team, and they're really unique in the top 8 for the fact that their offlaner rarely plays like the initiator or anything like that. Like Ice Ice Ice, he plays these like Necrophoses and these Dazzles and these Pangos, and they just kind of let him chill. They want him to be a really strong core. Like, they play really independently of each other. I'd say, like, their 3 cores play the most independently of each other out of all the top-tier teams. Like, for example, you see on OG, you'll see, like, back then Anna and Thompson used to just, like, 2-man, run around, fight, then Seb enters. But there's nothing really like that for Fnatic. Like, they're very content to just chill, farm, everybody gets something. Like, nobody has to panic or anything like that. So the way to abuse them is to be able to 5-man and meet them really quickly and get good initiations off, like, fast damage. But I don't know if Boom ID has that. If you allow them to set up, get a good laning phase, I feel like this team is so dangerous.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And it seems like also to play to that, Fnatic will put themselves into a lineup that will always be ready to engage early. So if their opponents, like you said, want to try to 5-man and meet Fnatic earlier, Fnatic will have a lineup that can match them at that point and at least put up a fight. I wonder, though, for Ice, and I certainly agree with you, he is that type of offlaner. Can that go against him if the meta doesn't see fit to it? You know what I mean? Whereas in other metas, maybe your players like Seb and Universe, let's say, like those big playmakers, those jump-in initiators. And when those kind of heroes really stride in the meta, you know, can Ice still hang? I think so. He can play those tides and those kind of heroes. But, you know, can he play it on the level of some of those other players?
Yeah, I mean, that's always, for me anyways, that's always been one of his weaknesses is he's an excellent player, don't get me wrong, but this guy does like to play independently. It's almost like they divide the map into like 3 sections. Whenever you have a team with Ice, it just, every offlaner has like a bit of a unique style. When he gets to play like these Timbers and stuff like that, that's when he's really good. When you force him to play like these Underlords and stuff like that, you're not really seeing him shine. He is like a playmaker star, and inevitably that does mean like he's going to have his own flaws too. But in this meta, I think right now he's very good. But he is going to get soloed here, potentially.
Yeah, action on both sides as they make their push for Ice. It's also 23 Savage in the bottom lane, who could meet his own demise too. Jabs, though, getting in the mix and is able to create the space. It's only going to cost Fnatic 1 casualty across the board, but we are even now 1-1.
And this is part of the reason why I think Fnatic, like their 3-core style works, is because they have somebody like DJ who just roams and makes everyone's lane okay. But they are a team that relies on having a good laning phase. Absolutely. And so far, not the best laning phase to begin with.
Yeah, Boom is meeting them along the way. They're not making any lane easy. I mean, we see bottom, 23 Savage is getting approached. In top lane, for the first time, it looks like Fnatic are able to really go on the offensive. It's back again onto FBZ. He just drops down the arena, knows that it's going to be trouble for him, tries to make the most out of it, but ultimately, it's the same story. This is the one lane that Fnatic have been able to really capitalize and punish. We'll check out mid lane, though. Moon is certainly doing what you would expect with a Batrider OD matchup. He's 37-14 to the OD's 23-7.
Yeah, this is just a hard matchup for OD. Not the best turn rate. Like, you want to get in the lane to be able to harass out and farm. And he's got to be careful at all times because if he misuses his Astral, he could just die.
Yeah, but he hasn't died yet. And many pro players I've noticed will say, like, that's fine. Like, that's expected. So this is almost a win. It's like, oh, okay. Really only becomes a loss if he actually gets killed and approached and in a lot of trouble. But if he's surviving, if he's hanging, if he's doing as is expected, uh-oh. See, as I say that, though, he does get hog-tied up and dragged on back. A fissure will separate him from his friends, and he will go down. Lich, as a witness, he has to go too. He saw the whole thing transpire, and we can't let him go to trial. So let's see if we can get a hold of him. He's got 3 sticky stacks. He's trying his best to get into the witness protection program, but he is gone and out. 4-1. Fnatic just unload on this mid lane.
And this is going to be the lane that they need to go really well. Like you said, Batrider... this is kind of expected, but you do want to get kills.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day. You do want to get kills, and picking up those is going to be quite nice for him. I'd imagine that he starts making his rotations up towards top, if I had to guess where he goes next. And that's exactly where he's headed.
Because trouble's already afoot here. Another fissure dropped the block out. Hyde caught on one end. FBC says, I'll defend my man. Drops the arena and takes the fight to DJ. He's taken out. Now, they chase on for FPZ, looking to get revenge for their friend. Poison touch, heals. Ice turns and walks away. He knows the job's done. Moon's there to clean it up and get that Batrider that much closer to maybe picking up that first big-ticket item. And it looks like the Boots of Travel is going to be that item.
Yeah, still an effective item on Batrider just because he benefits from the move speed. All these heroes that like benefited from the move speed, they don't really care too much about the Boots of Travel change. What I'd like to see from Fnatic next is as soon as you take this top tower, I think 23 Savage actually rotates towards top. But I think you want to take the tower first, otherwise Ice doesn't really have a game quite yet. So I'd like them to take this tower, and they're going to dive under for this too, and FBC's coming in.
Yep. Oh,
catches. This is pretty nice. I think Rubik is 100% dead.
It's just burning away. He can't do anything about it. And the rest of Fnatic just pull back. But you're certainly right. They have their full focus, it looks like, on this top lane. They're not leaving until they get that tower.
Yeah, so I think they grab the tower. If anything, 23 Savage coming like right now wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either.
Yeah.
I think if he makes the rotation down, Ice 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 goes down towards bottom, then the Bat Rider can also just stay up here too and protect him by cutting waves. But 23 Savage needs a lane to farm too.
Yeah, and they would end up possibly leaving the Faceless Void to do that lane all himself. But as I say that, he's already actually in the action, in the thick of it. 23 Savage will still hang on the south lane and just take the farm there. But Faceless Void will get his hands dirty, and it will allow Boom Esports to get a little bit of advantage at the top, and they hold the tower for now.
I think that was kind of a weird rotation from the Void, because I don't know if he wants to necessarily be up top anymore. And I think that's why 23 Savage feels fine staying bottom, just because the Void made the first move down.
Yeah.
But the focus now should be towards the mid tower for Fnatic, and the focus for Boom ID. When you lose that safe lane tower first, Dakota, it automatically means you have to play in like defensive mode, which means going for like smoke ganks and stuff not really going to work too well. Like if anything, you just send all your supports near that mid area.
Lots of action potentially breaking out here as it's close to that 10-minute mark, and outposts are for the taking here. Lasso pullback, and the Faceless Void is forced to chrono defensively to make it out. In the meantime, it's Mikoto getting the takedown of 23 Savage down below.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I wanted to see 23 Savage head towards top. There's nothing for him in this area. Like even getting the Lich kill doesn't really do too much for him. But if he's top, maybe they get the kill on the Faceless Void when Moon gets the jump.
And we'll see if he ultimately heads that way on his return now. Rest of the team.
Yeah, now he makes the move.
Yeah.
And I think this move was like a minute or two too late. And I think he realized that, and he's like, okay. So now what ends up happening is I think Ice 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 probably shoves in one more wave, and then I think he pops his Necro Books and goes mid. Would be the play. I guess because he has a catapult here, he's going to go for this, but they could just TP in and try to fight this. Oh, he thought about killing it.
Very touch and go here as Ice 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 dances with the Void behind the tower, forces him to use the walk and step out. The rest of Fnatic kind of converging to this lane with the exception of the Bat Rider who is down here.
They have to go mid, I would imagine.
They're going to come in now. Just as the Bat Rider gets pulled into trouble, the Fissure's there from the outside, but reinforcements come a little too late if they were hoping to bail out the Bat. Do they still want to fight this? 23 Savage jumps in, and then they immediately pull off. Now the arena going to be dropped on the jabs to separate him from the rest of the pack. They swarm him. He gets hit with the Grave. They're trying to bail him out, but you know they're short on firepower here. DJ maybe trying to creep in, look for an opportunity to go for the slam, but no opportunities there. They do manage to creep down the kill onto the Lich. 23 Savage narrowly going to get taken apart. Has to blink away from the trouble. Ice 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 stepping back in, trying to help out his comrade here. And they keep dancing in and out and in and out. They will get Hyde. Fnatic really making the most of this.
Yeah, Boom's getting outplayed right now.
Very awkward. Boom just not comfortable fully committing towards the high ground.
Pops the time walk, not nearly far away enough, but oh, he's actually okay. Firefly does run out, and they might look for
haste rune. FBZ
here. This would be a pretty big kill because Moon just respawned.
Oh,
he's trying to look for the angle on the spear.
Oh, he missed it. He missed it, and now he's got to use the rest of that haste rune to run away. Unfortunate.
Ice 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 does take mid now. And 23 Savage is going to try to poke around this area. Once he gets his defusal, I'd imagine he wants to start playing deeper towards mid in the triangle, and his team can make their way up. But like we said, all three cores playing apart from each other. And the Boots of Travel allows this to Dakota because they have really deep outpost control, so their teammates can get in at a moment's notice, so they don't have to stand too close to each other.
It's really feeling like for Boom, they are stuck together here in that buddy-buddy system. Let's see if they can change things up a bit. I think they have a smoke here, right? Yeah, they got a smoke. Probably need to check out the area first to be sure. They're not going to do it under the watchful eye of, well, there is a ward here on the high ground.
This is the problem with playing against like Batright or Riki, is you don't feel comfortable playing on any of the lanes.
Right.
Yeah. You feel like you're going to get grabbed or somebody's going to get jumped, and so you're naturally going to cluster together. And this is where Fnatic excels, is they out-efficiency you, and then in about like 5 minutes, they'll just take every fight because they know they're 6, 7K gold ahead of you.
That's a fantastic point. I mean, you look at Fnatic's lineup, and it just reeks like paranoia for Boom Esports, not really knowing where the jump can come from if there's a Invis hero stalking you out. Here we go. Boom Esports, they do finally pop that smoke.
Breaks.
Head to the high ground. They move in. 23 Savage pops the smoke, so they pop the dust. He just blinks right out from the trouble, and the arena has got no contenders on the inside. Ugh, a big awkward there. Boom will pull off, but that opportunity is now gone.
That was really nice positioning by 23 Savage. He waits in the tree line. He knows that something is coming. Like, Boom's making no plays on the map, and they realize, oh, we're getting really far ahead. They have all of the jungle to play with. They've pushed out all 3 lanes at all times. Like, something's got to give at some point.
Ugh, the Lich going to give his own life. DJ finds an opportunity to just blast him down with the big log. And we're not done yet. 23 Savage even chasing, corralling out the rest of Boom out from their own jungle. They have to go inside their own base for safety, and we're not even at 15 minutes yet. Fnatic just seem to be one step ahead. They're reading the gameplay of Boom nicely. They're reading the map, certainly, because they have a wealth of vision for them. And so much anti-vision. Like, look at all the sentries just dribbled across the map.
Yeah, this is really important for Ricky, too. A lot of people forget, like, when you have Invis heroes on your teams, especially when they're one of your top 3 cores, you want to make sure that they're having a good game by placing sentries yourself. It's 23 Savage. He should be okay. The rest of his team is coming in right now.
That'd be such
they need a blink target for him.
Morale defeat if they can't get 23 Savage here when he's already so low. He's able to jump to jabs, but boom! The hammer comes down from Makoto and gets the job done. They turn back and take the follow-up takedown of Ice Ice Ice. Could be huge for Boom here if they could take more, but it just ends up being a 2 for 2. Now make it a 3 for 2. With Kez being able to pop the double kill onto jabs, Fnatic will fully withdraw.
That was nice by Boom. And it all starts with 23 Savage getting really aggressive. So and we're going to take a look at the replay here and just kind of see how that all started. You see up at top, they get the jump on him. And the issue with getting caught this far is it forces your entire backline to become your front line. Like, everyone moves forward. They all know how this fight's going to look. And a very nice ulti from Makoto.
A classic case of the flashy point guard trying to dribble the ball between his legs a bit. It bounces off his kneecap, and the whole team is diving for the ball, trying to figure out what the hell's happening.
All you got to do is simple pick and roll, you know?
Simple pick and roll, but this kid over here has got to do some crazy double dribble, questionable travel plays. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, Fnatic will learn from that. He'll learn from that, and they fight back now.
Yeah, and they died on the other side of the map, meaning Boom doesn't actually get anything for getting those kills.
Yep. They haven't gotten anything, period, Will. Not a tower to their name.
Yeah.
And now Fnatic know they don't have the Chronosphere. They don't have those big ults, so they can just take the fight right back to them. They swarm around Mars and take the big bouncer out first and foremost, just to send a message.
And this is the benefit of playing aggressively, is that even if you lose fights, and I want all pub players especially to take note of this, when you take fights on the other side of the map, in the enemy's jungle and not your own jungle, this is what happens. Like, this is how you default create space on the map. This is how you make the game easier for everybody to play, because right now Fnatic have all the tier 1 towers, 1 tier 2 tower, and it's in large part because they're playing aggressively on the other side. That death for me by 23 Savage, like, it sucks, but it doesn't actually change anything. No. You're not grabbing a tower out of it. The gold lead doesn't really swing down in any way. Like, I think they were up like 7, now they're up 6. They're about to get an Aegis for this too. Like, those kinds of deaths I never mind when you're being aggressive.
If anything, just gives a false sense of security to where Boom Esports really stands in this game. They're going to get a real hit of that once they see the message on the screen now that Roche has been finished. Just as they make their approach, this could turn into a wonderful setup for Fnatic. But look at this, Mars stepping in, tries to isolate 23 Savage, huge javelin into the wall, and they pop the Aegis at the start of the fight. This is nice. Oh, big dunk from DJ, evaporates Lich, melts him down, and Boom got to back off. They didn't like that.
Yeah, they've got a full retreat right now.
Moon moves in. He's got that haste rune. He's dragging OD all the way back to his friends, but the jump in comes out from the Chrono. It's back off cooldown.
Where's the damage, though?
And he's starting to dish out some hits on the DJ, but like you mentioned, they don't quite have the damage to wipe the floor of Fnatic. And now with that, they got to bail. They have nothing else to offer here.
That wasn't terrible for Boom at all. They did get the Aegis out of the way immediately. They kill the Earthshaker. They lose 2, which sucks, of course. But, I mean, they were already pretty far behind. So getting any sort of trade, not allowing Fnatic to just use the Aegis to push, I think is okay considering the circumstances.
Again, though, it would be that much better if it's fights that can turn into objectives or turn into just at least +1s
Yes.
to help out your economy a bit, because, you know, it feels like at the end of the day, Fnatic are still trading evenly on the fight enough to still feel confident to push across the map and get things done. They only have, let me see, 2 more Tier 2s remain for Fnatic to kind of finish things off and push things forward. But coming into this game, a lot of questions were about Fnatic's lineup and the scalability and the late game. You know, do you have any new thoughts on that now? I mean, certainly it still feels like it's all Fnatic, but is that clock there at all? Like, if they can't get this done for some reason by like 25, 30 minutes.
I think they need more than that.
Yeah.
I think it's when OD gets items. Like, I think when the OD gets items, they can win. He's like the real true 1 position in this game. The Void is just going to set up for him. But they need the OD hitting things. Like, as soon as he gets nabbed and he doesn't get to get any damage out, then the Riki gets on top of him. What is he going to do? He really needs a BKB for them to be able to win the team fight.
They do have that queued up next, but he's got to somehow farm that. And really, where out there can you even farm right now?
Yeah.
Fnatic are still hanging out in their turf.
That's
taking
why
away everything.
I didn't want to give you like an exact time when you were like, how long? It's like, well, how long will it take them to farm a BKB? They could potentially just win a fight, take 2 towers.
It's true.
Then they could get it in the next like 4 minutes. And that would be excellent. But they could also just lose the next 4 fights, and even though it's like 25 minutes, he'd have like an Ogre Axe.
Does feel pretty dependent on Fnatic to play a much more passive game now moving forward. And, yeah, not trying to take any more risks or try to take the match to Boom, but I just don't foresee that at all happening. Fnatic still taking it to Boom as we see them pluck away all the fresh wards they just planted on the south part of this map. And now I imagine they're going to head north immediately.
Necrobook 3, especially on an offlaner, and you just get a free gem, essentially.
Yep.
And
they see each other. Who's going to make that first move? It's a jump in from FBZ. Gets a nice arena to try to separate
DJ
Fnatic.
dodges.
They make the move in for Bat. DJ is swinging around, dancing with the Mars as best he can. Moon makes it to the low ground, and now the Mars is isolated from the rest of the pack. Him and Rubik gonna be the first set to fall.
They still have battle
Boom, have to run back inside. I mean, still have no chrono for 20 seconds. You know, Fnatic could easily take this tier 2.
Thought DJ was gonna die, as now the odds reflect probably what the game really looks like.
For sure.
1-7 right now. That's, I don't know if I would take those odds. Maybe if it was like 1-12, I might. But as it stands right now,
yeah,
not catch me on that on the Boom ID.
Not even in Vegas, and 4 drinks deep. It would be too hard. Here mid lane though, Fnatic not pulling off the pedal. Lich can't even feel comfortable trying to make it to the high ground to drop a safety ward or any sort of safety net defensively. Rubik tiptoes outside and immediately pays the price. You got to have a friend if you want to walk out there, buddy. It's too dangerous.
He is not utilizing the buddy system right now.
Certainly not.
No holding hands at the present.
It's like, you know, in kindergarten where all the kids have the rope attached to themselves and they just drag one kid and they all come along. They need that. They need that rope. But without that safety net, they're just cowering inside and have to just hand over the little bits of lane farm available to the Void and to the OD. But even as you see the Mars trying to creep out the front door to be like, is it safe, guys? No, they'll tie you up by the neck and throw you outside. Moon is vicious.
That is, I mean, this game right now, when you can't even leave your base, he was like a foot outside his base. He just gets jumped on and Boom just has to watch it happen. Nobody else wants to get caught.
Yeah, you're getting caught from a Bat, get caught out from a Riki. And now you have stuff like the blinking DJ Earthshaker and company to go along with it. This nowhere feels safe. You know, Boom are splitting themselves around a bit right now, but you know, it's Fnatic who just have full control. And they're just going to, you know, as we say, tighten their grip. Here we go. 2-on-1 opportunity for Boom at the top lane.
It's worth it.
All right, get it. Got to get that morale somehow. Boom.
100% worth.
Oh no, Hyde has found a little book friend.
Ah, it's life.
You know, certainly they feel all worth as they finally
if they
get
could
that
get a kill on DJ here, this would be so big.
Oh, but Makoto's also in trouble. He gets just handled from DJ and 23 Savage within the arena. They do end up losing the Bat, but Okay, decent Chain Frost is going to be shrugged off by Ice 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 and Savage. They end up, losing FBZ. No surprise there. The only survivor now is the Void.
Dream picked up some money, though.
He did, but he could lose it if they want to jump for it.
Oh, no way. He's actually going to go for this.
Yeah, you're going to use a Chrono on my boy, huh? Well, I'll use my Echo for you.
And that's going to be an ultra kill for 23 Savage.
And the tip.
I like that. Blind blink and jump just commits the Echo for it. They want to kill all 5 heroes. The upside, I guess, for Boom Esports is they're so low level that everyone's respawning.
That's true. They're already back
They're already
into
alive.
the fight if they want to take it.
They just
to
got
the high ground. But they don't really have any ults. They have nothing. They have Rubik, whatever he can steal.
I think he got Blink Strike.
Go, Rubik. Jump in there and show them.
He did need a blink. He did need a blink.
He hits him with a fade ball on the way out. Like, stop that. And, well, it looks like Fnatic will have a little bit of mercy. Just take the tier 3 and backpedal once again. The economy is all theirs. If they want to play it slow up until the here we have a replay of that iconic Chrono to the top lane that got that Batrider kill. But, it's more or less going to be the same. I don't know what kind of risks Boom can take here moving forward that can tip the scales. But we are now pushing up to a 20K net worth advantage after that fight. And here, possibly, Fnatic could be moving in for the death blow.
Here comes the Centaur.
The smoke is there. They lead it off with the Fissure, the bump back of Mars, the Lich
Just let the
also
Lich
under
live.
pressure.
Just let him live.
No, he saw the whole thing, Will. He's got to go. We can't have witnesses. You remember. They chase forward. Fnatic into the high ground. They're looking to close things out. But, oh, careful here. Batrider in trouble. Gets the hammer. Gets healed up. He's going to be just fine.
Gets
Makoto,
real low, but...
Makoto was hoping to have at least a little bit of something. A tiny feather for his cap. But he gets nothing.
And they're just not catching any breaks right now.
No.
Fnatic is not letting up. They are just kicking them repeatedly.
This is what their lineup set out to do, and it looks like they got to do it in full force, unhinged, with really no problems along the way.
Void does have the ulti,
and he may not get to use it here. His faceless head gets wrapped up, pulled back,
so deep
and
in it.
he is gone. Minute, no buyback. This is probably the final hurrah here. Make the most of it for what you will. DJ drops it down, catches the both of them, and Boom are scrabbling back to the base. FPZ though.
This is actually not that bad for Boom.
They're forcing him to stay back. They're shoving him inside. You want to fight in our house? You got to take us all out.
They're actually going to pick up some kills for this. This could be something. I don't know what, but
what does it? What does
certainly
it
a
give?
thing.
A gem, for Lich now means that they can move outside the front door.
They need vision so bad, and they have no idea where any of the vision is. This is the downside of being crowd so hard in your base. Everyone always talks about like, oh well, if you have the better late game, hold high ground, but even if you get kills, you can't really go anywhere because you're not really sure where you're being seen, and you don't want to just take a fight outside your base. That's ill-advised. So you want to get your own vision out as soon as you possibly can. And whenever you're playing against like gems or Necro 3s, these kinds of wards are always the scariest to place. Whenever you place like low ground wards, they're gonna die, Dakota. They'll die every time.
For now, at least they're able to get their jungle back for a little bit of side farm and the outpost. Fnatic still recouping from their diving in the bottom lane. 23 Savage now back into action. They will probably come together again as a team, and who knows, maybe have another smoke push. Oh, Greaves, a nice pickup for Fnatic. Could help in case they get a little overzealous at times. Ice 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 can be the paramedic. But, whenever Fnatic come together as 5 and try to take it to Boom, it seems like it is going to be Fnatic's fight 9 out of 10 times. Or is that even being too nice? Is it more 10 out of 10 if they take 5-on-5s?
I like that.
You need just a hell of a Chrono setup. Your OD needs to really just go.
He needs to hit like
finally
10
got his
times in a
BKB.
fight. Yeah.
He's got his BKB.
This
is
coming
it.
soon. This is the final hurrah. There's no point in saving for buyback. What is that going to do for you?
No,
You'll die twice.
Yeah.
So you might as well just buy your BKB, see what one ideal fight looks like, give it to me. Give me the double BKB cores. This is what they needed. The only thing that goes through BKB, damage-wise, is the they have some right clicks like the Ricky. But aside from that, like a lot of their damage is magic.
They have a central point now to fight around.
Oh.
It could be for the Roche. Ooh, they spot Savage.
Did you see that?
They shove him away.
It like leapt him above.
Shoved him right over the cliff wall and into Roche Pit.
I think that might have been like their opportunity, and instead
they get ice frogged, and he's inside the Roche Pit. They'll make the most. The fight continues on. They get the lasso pull back onto the void. He tries to pop in the BKB and survive.
You have to
and
fight
he
at
does
this point.
live.
Turn.
Now, can he make the most of it? He still holds the chrono if necessary here. They can't even finish off
no.
jabs. They lose his own life. Makoto to fall. It was all for naught. 2 buybacks, but unfortunately the rest have nothing else.
Surely they're going to call at this point now.
Never say die. We won't go down until... Okay, we're done. Lich knows that he has no chance here. And it still ends up going to Fnatic. Pretty much very convincing game number 1. You know, you look at the drafts on paper and